Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and it feels very, very bizarre to be honest, because I don't usually make videos usually about this time of the day. What is it, like nearly 10 to 3, and well, I'm here to tell you guys because I've got a few very important things I want to say, and you see that bright white light outside? That is the heavens opening, because, ladies and gentlemen, this is the 1st of July, which means something very, very important. We are now officially halfway through this year. And before we go any further, I've got a special message I want to send to the people of Argentina. And if you will pardon me, for those who do not speak the Spanish language, you might have to, I would advise you to stick the subtitles on just for about the next 30 seconds. Muchas gracias por mi video de YouTube e himno nacional de su país. Fue una sorpresa tan agrandada, ya que los arrembados comentarios positivos han sido una calidad benevenida este canal. Seguramente aquí que por todos los himnos nacionales de América del Sur, incluso ensayo el himno nacional completo. Créeme de un hombre inglés puede que hable español por no de mañana su gratificado. Así que gracias, buen chico. Now, where was I? Oh, yes. When I began this year, well, the real story begins about it was either the 28th or the 29th of December of 2022, because I kind of adopted the whole policy into my life where I was not going to wait for a special occasion for things to happen. I would make things happen now. I would get my arse off the seat and literally get into the driving position. That's the way I put it anyway. Now, I can remember so well about how the 1st of January went as well. I busted my arse off. I was releasing 3 videos a day on this channel right here, which is sort of my home. This is the base of my operations. I busted my arse off. I worked. I did everything I needed to do, and I remember when the day ended as well. I remember because that was when they showed the first episode of the last series of Happy Valley, and I made a few videos that night, and about 20 to 11 that night, I remember thinking, it was because my sister had said something to me right now, but I do remember it was something kind of insulting a little bit, but I remember the feeling afterwards where I said, wow, that was the first day of 2023, and despite everything, despite how much I worked, despite all the effort I put in, blah, 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 I still get insulted this much. And to be honest, it was sort of a very dark cloud that was over me throughout a large part of last year, but it was only because I kind of realized what the problem was really beginning this year. And you know what? I don't really want money all that much. If I get monetized any which way, that's a bonus. That is what I consider a bonus, to be honest. A bit like when I get tipped at work, but we'll get to that in a second. That's a bonus, but what I want more than anything out of this is something probably even... What I'm about to say, it might sound borderline scandalous to say this, because it's the sort of thing that I imagine probably thousands of people want to say, but are too squeamish to say it even more than the prospect of wanting money. And that is respect. Which kind of it fits into a little bit about what I was referring to in that brief stanza at the beginning, where I thanked and praised the people of Argentina for being so overwhelmingly positive in me listening to their national anthem. It's because I think such a huge problem that goes on in my life is that people know fine well that I'm autistic, and they know almost without even needing to think about it that I'm too sensitive and too soft-spoken, and therefore unable to defend myself in arguments and stuff like this. I mean, throughout a large part of yesterday, people were insulting me for my weight, people were insulting me for my intelligence, people were insulting me just because I was a trainee, and some people didn't want to have to put up with trainees at work. But I got told a very pretty much before I started that you're going to get arseholes at this sort of place, or well, not so much arseholes, but people who just kind of want to cause trouble for no reason apart from the fact that they just kind of do cause trouble, so to speak. Anyway, other things that besides that have happened this year is that I started a new job 10 days ago, and hell, if I was still at my old job, I would have finished yesterday, which is a really strange way because we go from a whole 6 months of the year at my old place, and in total, ladies and gentlemen, I'd spent 35 months of my life at my previous job, and I liked the job. Well, I liked the job in a sense. I preferred the people in many ways a lot more. At this new job, however, it's a very different sort of, it's almost got sort of like the opposite problems of what my old job used to have, because at my old job, I would work nearly 60 hours a week, which gave me not a great deal of time to do many other things besides. I mean, I would get up and just get showered, have breakfast, go straight to work, come back by about either 7:15 or 7:30, and usually what would happen is that I would go straight to the gym immediately after leaving work, which I would get to the gym about 7:15, do what I needed to do for about an hour or so, and then get home, shower, and then probably just go to bed, to be honest. With this job, however, it's a bit different, because this is the first time in my entire life I've ever got a job where I actually work in the city. And the problem with this is that when I'm on day shifts, which is usually it could be either 12 till 8 or from 1 till 9, I would have to get the bus into town and just walk to the place. It's not it's like a 5-minute walk from the bus stop to where my place of work is, which, to be fair, ladies and gentlemen, this is the second job now where transport is remarkably straightforward. Even public transport is actually relatively sedentary and sound. I mean, I don't particularly like the bus myself, if I'm being completely fair and honest. Chief among which is that they were supposed to send me a smart card, so I don't have to keep just showcasing my phone every single time I want to get on the bus that I've paid for my ticket. And even after all this, they are raising the prices by £4 extra a month, which is borderline a scandal, to be honest, because there'll be some nights where I'm sitting at the bus depot at about 5 minutes past 8. The bus usually comes at about 10 past 8 at night. Sometimes it's late, and you know what, late, fair enough. I mean, well, to be honest, there's seldom or almost no traffic whatsoever at that time of night, so that's a bit of an interesting thing to get your head around. Sometimes it will just fuck off to God knows where, and then you have to hang around until 10 past 9, which, when you've been working for like 8 hours and that, and by that point I'd probably been awake for at least 15 hours. Usually it's the norm that I wake up at 6 in the morning for the last couple of months. So anyway, besides that, it's not too bad. But the problem is that when I work 8 hours, is that when I get the bus in, it works like this. I leave the house at about 10 o'clock. The bus comes at roughly 20 past 10. I get to town by about 11 o'clock. I go straight to work, have my lunch, and then get on the floor and get ready to start work ready to work at 12. On the night shift, however, because last night was the very first, in the span of a week, I'd worked a Sunday, which is only the second time in my life I've ever had to work on a Sunday, and yesterday was the very first time I'd ever worked a night shift. 6 o'clock at night till 2:15 in the morning. And I was supposed to leave at 2, but the problem was that somebody who was supposed to take over for me got lost or seemed that there was some confusion, whatever that happened. But I took my initiative and literally just stayed where I was and just got on with it. Not that anybody seemed tremendously happy about that, but what can you do? I wasn't just going to leave my position at that time of night. Anyway, so that was that done, and I would drive home. Well, I would get my way back to my car by roughly about 2:30, and I got myself in at the door at about 3 a.m, which gave me enough time to have a sleep for about 8 hours. I would get up about 11:30 in the morning, have a shower, and kind of just made myself basically. The problem is that the schedule is done in such a way that I have got to get ready, get all of my stuff prepared, and then ready to go. And then by the time I come back, it gives me no real time to do much of anything else. Well, I say that, but it's more about the things that I actually really like want to do, like just as part of my downtime. Which is it wasn't the sort of problem that I had at my old job, because at my old job it was everything was organized, all the dates were absolutely the same. This one is a little bit different than that, and my rota, because I can literally get my rota up right now, it showcases that I've got to do the night shift tonight, and then the night shift tomorrow night, which working midnight on a Sunday is going to be pretty interesting, because I don't really know exactly what on earth it would be like on a Sunday. I mean, I imagine if there's going to be some people there, but I'm curious to how it all pans out, because I may have mentioned this before, but I work 40 hours a week at my new job, which gives me 2 whole days off. But the problem is that I would have preferred if I had 2 days off. It was like Saturday and Sunday. So it's like, for the very first time in years, that would have actually been able to have the equivalent of a, like a weekend off and stuff like that. But it's not really the case. And I don't know if this is 100% fixed about what my scheduled days off are going to be. But let's see. Yep, Sunday. Okay, hang on, let me see. And then okay, I just realized. Okay, oh, that's really interesting. Okay, so it's 5 whole days that I'm doing the night shift, which I don't know. I think this is just probably the norm for everyone else at this point, because everyone looks as if, yeah, it's kind of like that. And then, although that's pretty interesting, I got Wednesday and Thursday off, and then it's 1 till 9, 1 till 9, 1 till 9, which 1 till 9, 1 till 9, 1 till 9, 1 till 9. So basically, it's till Tuesday that I do the night shift, and then it's mostly for that part afterwards. It's literally so that's not too bad. So I can literally still get the bus by that point. It's a good thing as well, because at least the parking where I do is relatively cheap, because I get to the car park by roughly about 5:30, and I would only have to pay for about like 30 minutes it's like an hour and 30 minutes of parking, and then it's free after 7 o'clock, and then just away I go and stuff like that. So that's all pretty good. Now that we are at this stage of the proceedings, ladies and gentlemen, it would be a good time to mention that I have something of a very ambitious and bold thing to say about what's going to happen next, because what's in store for the rest of this year? What have I got that I want to showcase to you guys? Well, first of all, I actually got an award. It's not from YouTube, it's from from my mates at my old place of work. So they, at the very, at least they understand that I put a lot into this. And if they're watching this right now, hi, by the way. And by this time next year, ladies and gentlemen, I want to become a millionaire. In fact, no, correction. By this time next year, I will be a millionaire. And the only way I can suggest, or even hint as to how that can even be remotely possible is just straight up down to me working my arse off, and there we are. But working harder, working smarter, not harder. Or why not work smarter and harder? Work harder at being smarter, and therefore you can make the whole thing run 10 times as easy. Again, this is only really a rough idea, and to be honest, there are certain things that are going to like be a bit of an interesting thing to get over, because at this moment I've only ever been at my new job for 10 days, and to be honest, by the time I get past Christmas, I reckon things will be really, really smooth by that point. But after that, however, is where it's going to really be interesting, because I actually do think there's a lot I can get out of this job that I have. I also think there's quite a lot of things that will test me. Oh, absolutely. But I also think I still have just as much to showcase just how far I can really go with this. I think there is just there's so much waiting for me, and there is so much that I know fine well I can do. But interestingly enough, ladies and gentlemen, in 6 months' time, ladies and gentlemen, this year will end. In 7 months' time, I will be 26. And to be honest, if ever there was a time where I've really, really got to push myself to get what I want out of this life, then now's the time. Yeah, that's what it's going to be. Also, I apologize, but well, maybe you guys will be forgiven if I give you guys a little bit of a break of listening to Wheels of Steel, because to be honest, one thing as well, just to get this a little bit back on track, is that music video reactions are really pretty much going to be just like scheduled to like one a day, probably from here on in. The idea is that it's just going to be more organized, better set, and I won't be stressing and stuff like that. I plan to like use one of my 2 days off work to like bust out videos. That's really what it's going to be like. I'll probably find enough time as well when this whole I can get up to speed about how to like organize my time better, but to go back to the gym, because I haven't been to the gym in like 3 weeks. I think it's like 3.5 weeks actually. But whatever, just giving myself a bit of a break from all that is actually it's done me kind of like the world of good a little bit, just to give myself a bit of breathing space. Meanwhile, what else do I need to say? Music reactions are going to be like one a day right now, and usually what I want to have happen is that usually I'm going to like just take an album and just go through it, and then I plan on doing like another national anthem reaction in between that, and then through another album, and then we could circumnavigate like that. Basically, I just want to do the national anthem thing just to give this channel give you guys a bit of breathing space, give you something a little bit different, and then we can move into another album, because I plan to use my Patreon, for example, to come up with lists of albums that I kind of want to really take a look at, and I could give you guys the opportunity to vote for it, which that could be a really, really interesting thing. Or maybe I should just go to my community post and literally just put up a poll about who wants me to do it, and then who knows, if people want to request anything on Patreon, then I suppose I can literally go through that. But again, that's going to take a fair bit of planning and stuff like that. And it's not that I don't have the time for that. It's far from it. It's just, if I want to take like another stab at this and go in for round 4, then yeah, I just got to do what I got to do. So I hope you guys appreciate this little updated message. It's great to see all of you again, and I cannot wait to see all of you again for the rest of this year. Take care, and bye-bye for now.